All right, we um we have our paladin friend over here to do a bit of a guide and some tips and tricks on the mechanics of the declone fight. I did a bunch of videos, all the classes times two, one with a lot of gear, one without a lot of gear, to kind of see what was possible. We'll just go into the fight and we'll talk things through a little bit. First, you need a Vision of Terror, which you get by combining a couple items. One drops from map bosses, one drops from Bow and Diablo, and the other one drops from the Pandemonium event in Uber Tristram. You cube them up and you get your little Vision of Terror over here. Okay, let's get this Paladin in here. First off, you see is these Bone Spirits. They will deal magic damage. If I stand in here, you see it hurts. We have the hose right here that deals half physical, half lightning damage, and it is blockable. As you can see, the damage I'm taking is very inconsistent because I have 75% block. So some of the hits we're just blocking, and some are going through. We also have DR and good lightning resist, but yeah, that hose is blockable. That's very important. I hope you got to see that on a couple hoses that we just face tanked right there. Because sometimes your HP does not really move, right? Blockable hose, very important. Okay, here it goes again. Taking very minimal damage, very spiky damage sometimes, because I only take damage really when it goes through the block. Alright, he's got his little firestorm over here, which, you know, hurts quite a bit. That's why we are stacked on resist, as you can see on this paladin here. He's a very tanky boy. So, Bone Spirits do magical damage, and they have a supposedly fire penetration or a debuff to it. I have tried to check it. If we go into our stats, if we look at our fire stats and we get hit by these Bone Spirits, it doesn't really change. So maybe it just doesn't show on the tooltip. It is still recommended to have more fire res, because there is something there, because Senpai mentioned, you know, get more than max resist. And then another thing is the meteors that you randomly see on the floor that get spawned by the spirits right here and right there. Let's just stand in one, bomb, there we go. Which do have fire and have physical damage. Those are all the abilities that go around. Now once we start smacking Declone, he's gonna do something else. This one here is a cold spell, which generally you kind of want to dodge because it hurts a lot. If you don't have cold absorb or over maximum more than 75% cold res, that can just one-shot you. When I am building a Declone killer, I generally really focus on double ravens and like a snow clash to get some cold resist going, because when you are doing this fight and you want to hide, sometimes your hiding spot is just not safe anymore, or it's gonna get bombarded with spirits or with meteors, and you have to move. And if you have to move during a cold nova phase, you're just gonna get one shot by the cold nova. So you really want to be able to get that done. If you're playing melee and you're not as tanky as the paladin, your main focus is getting these spirits away from Declone and create a safe space in the middle to get DPS on him. Ideally, you let them explode on the pillars over here before you go back in. Then you have some time to attack him. Spirits come again. You kite them back again. Ideally, again, explode them on the pillars. It takes a little bit of practice to get them right, but you don't want these spirits in the middle. You can also just walk into them, but you really want to keep it away from the middle because you're not going to have time to DPS him. Since these spirits are doing magic damage, you cannot really tank through. So you want to keep your middle clear, go in when there are no spirits spawning. If one does pop in the middle, just move to the side, attack him from the other angle. If you have the resist that we have over here, the hose and the block, is not the most important thing. These spirits do magic damage, which is the only thing that the Paladin cannot really negate. Everything else is physical and magical. Sorry, like physical and elemental. He has good negations for those attacks. If you do it with another class, it's kind of the same, but you can see with 75% block, you just tank a hose with 95 RS. It becomes easy. The dangerous thing then becomes the bone spirits, which you just really want to mitigate by just hiding behind the pillars when there's fire in the middle, exploding the spirits against the pillars right here or in the back here. Have a clean middle, and then go back in there to do some DPS. There is a life tap on the last wish. If you're doing this, you might think, let me just get a life tap wand. It serves no purpose because it falls off in less than a second. Diablo has like 90% curse reduction, so you don't really want to fiddle around with a life tap wand. It does nothing. When it's on the last wish, obviously it helps a little bit here and there, but you cannot really rely on it. It'll be random proccing. All right, so that is the fight itself. Recommended stats for Declone, like as tanky as you can get, because he does a lot of damage. Even on the Paladin with 95 Ores, with max physical damage reduction and max block, you could see we still drop quite low occasionally. So you just want to get as many defenses as you can and get some absorb in there if you can. It's not really needed if you have 95 cold res. You don't really need any absorb anymore. But if you cannot reach these amounts, if you're not doing this on a Paladin, then the absorb definitely helps in surviving the cold nova phase. And yeah, just give yourself the ability to reposition when you need to during a cold nova phase and not get one shotted there, because I've died many times when we were trying the budget kills to a cold nova when I had to just leave the pillar because there was just multiple meteors and multiple bone spirits and we had to move. So that is Declone in a nutshell. Things that are important, things to build around, and things to keep in mind. I hope this will help you on your Diablo clone adventures and help you not rip as much. All right. A few extra things to note about Diablo is his love for summons. If you're doing this on a class that can summon something like a Valkyrie or a Shadow Master or just regular skeletons, bears, whatnot, he will always prioritize attacking those over yourself. So you could use that to your advantage by just creating a bit of diversion before you go in, so that you are not the focus of him. It is especially useful for diverting his lightning hose attack. I did that on some of the budget kills with like a Heart of Wolverine, just summon that, or some wolves on the wolf barb, just to distract him a bit before I went in, so I didn't get hit by the hose and had to go hide again. So that is an important thing, important trick that you could use. If you're doing it on a ranged character, also try to limit your movement as much as you can. For a melee, it doesn't matter too much as long as the middle is clear. There can be fire everywhere around else. If you're in a ranged character, you kind of want it the other way around. So try to use half of the battlefield to dump the fire. If it gets too full, move to the other side, but try not to use the whole arena at once. That will create a bit more stability for yourself. The actual stats of Declone are also kind of important to note. He has roughly 95% all resist, so if you're doing this with elemental characters, you need a lot of penetration from facets, from gear, from talents, and any way you can get them, but 95 all res means you need a lot of penetration. He has 50% damage reduction and 50% magic reduction as well, so if you're doing it with a physical specs, keep that in mind. And he has 25% chance to block. Curse duration reduction is like 80%, something like that. These values are bound to change into the next season, because in this season alone, the values have already been adjusted here and there. This is just what we have to work with right now. So keep that in mind.